Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. This is for educational purpose only. This is the case of the Idaho 4. May the victims rest in peace. Condolence to the families. And may the correct justice be served. Today, I'd like to talk about 1122 Kings Road, where it was located, the neighbors surrounding the house, and so forth. I personally do not believe that the neighbors did not hear people fighting for their life. And I find it difficult to wrap my mind around the fact that somebody could actually come and take the chance to enter this house from the sliding door when the lights are so bright. I find it also difficult to believe that the surviving roommates, especially BF, did not feel the breeze, the draft coming inside from the front door, because the front door was left wide open. A gentleman on his way to work noticed that the door was wide open. And when Chief Fry was asked about that in the press conference, it was like news to him. He wasn't aware of that, according to him. Now this is where Jack D lives, straight down, where the car is parked in front of the house, the single car. All Jack D and Adam allegedly needed to do was come out of the house or go from behind the house, go around to the right. This facing the door, all they need to do is go to the right-hand side and they'll come out right in front of the sliding door. They would have just come in front of the sliding door. As for the Sigma Chi fraternity boys, like the figures that were running, just needed to cross Banfield. They just needed to cross the road and they would have been in front of 1122 Kings Road, especially if they took the alleyway. That's a very short distance, maybe 3 minutes, if not lesser. 3 minutes to walk. So I believe a minute and a half to run. Pay attention to how bright the lights are on the corridors, on the road itself. But for some reason, on the 13th of November 2022, it was pitch black outside. Was these lights put off on purpose, is my question. How come it's so bright? Now, there's a police car there. This was right after the unalivings. Strange. I would love to know who Kaye, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan took the last pictures with. I mean, in which house did they take those pictures? It seemed like it was in Taylor Avenue. If you pay attention to this block, this white block in front of us, especially the second floor, the picture or the pictures look like the victims and surviving roommates were actually standing on the second floor. It may not mean much, but it could mean a lot. I remember Saeed was telling the Banfield officers that he lives around here, and he pointed his finger and his hands behind towards this block. Was there a party somewhere around here? Or was there a party at 1122 Kings Road that night? Where was Xana that night? Ethan was allegedly at the Sigma Chi fraternity. Where was Xana? Could Xana have been entertaining some friends? Did she had a little gathering, a little party at 1122 Kings Road? And did she get attacked by the people she invited? Allegedly. Because you could see the forensic team taking a lot of pictures in the living room and the corridor. Plus, we've heard that DM heard rummaging upstairs and she thought it was the Sigma Chi fraternity boys. Why was she so sure that it could have been them? She didn't say any other frats or sororities. She mentioned the Sigma Chi. This was where the four figures were running from. And I believe they came from 1122 Kings Road. They ran down this alleyway. They went to the right and crossed the field. Or they didn't cross the field, they went towards Sigma Chi fraternity. They put lights outside the blocks right after the unalivings. But for some reason, it was pitch black. It was dark. There was no lights that night. Was all this pre-planned? John Jack Schmalti, a.k.a. Hoodie Guy, lives at Queens Road or Kings Road, allegedly. So he would be practically neighbors with the girls. So would Jack D. So would Adam. So would Hunter Johnson. So would the Sigma Chi fraternities. It wasn't that bright that night. It was pitch black. I wonder if that white truck was the white truck seen driving in front of 1122 Kings Road at 1:35. Are there any cameras on this house? So this white truck is very interesting. It could be anyone's truck. Just wondering if this could be the truck that was driving towards the corner club when Kaye and Maddie were walking with Hoodie Guy towards the GRUB truck. David Lodge has a white truck too, and so does Jack D. I'm just trying to figure out if this white truck is the neighbor's truck. I'm sure that these apartments would have heard any screaming or yelling. That must be the reason the Canodals, the father and uncle Sherman, put posters up on these flats doors. It's not far from Linda Lane, and it's definitely not far from the girl's house. I personally believe that most of these apartments or flats here heard exactly what was going on at 1122 Kings Road. But obviously nobody wants to be involved out of fear. If the suspect or suspects are capable of doing such horrific crimes without fearing authority or anyone, why would anyone take the chance to go and inform the police? And especially if you're not sure where you stand with the police either, in my opinion. There is so many ways the suspect or suspects could have taken. And I personally believe they were on foot. Yes, there were cars roaming around that night. Definitely there were white Hyundai Lancers roaming around that night. But I really don't believe that the suspects came with vehicles. All these lights were down that night. What if the police actually saw this white sedan making a U-turn and tried to park? See, there's a white sedan there. Wasn't it 22,000 Hyundai Lancers that were around those areas in Idaho, Moscow? All these lights were not working for some reason. Most of these lights. I wonder why. Did the frats bust the lights so that they could sneak jogging quickly and jog out? And the Banfield boys and Saeed? Because I personally believe they all were involved, in my humble opinion. Look at how bright it is. But that night, it was dark, pitch black. You have Linda Lane there. And that is where we were hearing all the yelling We were seeing a lot of movements. So if there was a DoorDash driver who came to 1122 Kings Road, if there was, he would have drove this way too. So how come we never saw the DoorDash driver driving? So this is the laundry room. They could have hid here easily and just run down the steps. This video is from JLR. Please like, share and subscribe to him. JLR is boots on the ground. He was boots on the ground from the very beginning. And he took some important footages. And important interviews. I respect him for that, especially for the Idaho Moscow case. Where was it Inan Harsh lived? Wasn't it on the second floor? So you can see the suspects could have easily hid here, ran downstairs to 1122 Kings Road, done these horrific crimes, and at 3:12, they could have all dispersed in different directions because we saw some of them jogging towards Sigma Chi. You see, all it takes is go down the steps and you can actually rush in quickly. And the neighbors are trying to tell us they didn't hear anything. Strange. That's the reason I believe that everyone knew what was going on, but they were either warned not to talk, Sigma Chi can clearly see into 1122 Kings Road, like they said. That's the reason I believe the 4chan. I was one of the first creators who always said, and I still stick to that the frats are involved. The frats are involved, especially Sigma Chi, in my opinion. Because within 2 years and 2 months, 3 months, I've exposed so much from the GRUB truck, Banfield, people carrying, people on their phones, people watching crime scene pictures, timelines that don't make sense. I've showed y'all everything I could show y'all. And believe me, 85% of my research goes back to the frats and to the jacks. Because they're carrying, Hoodie Guy's carrying, Jack D's injured. And I don't understand why they're not telling us the truth. The 999, the 911 call, 999 is UK, 911 call was made from 1100 Kings Road. And that is right next to this White House here. It is a small blue house, and I believe it's Hunter Johnson's house. It's not this one, it's the little one behind these bushes and trees. Because that's what the report says even. If you go and look into the calls that was made to 911, look at the shoes upstairs. Was this a rug zone? Ida Moscow is not telling us the truth. There was more going on with rugs than we can imagine. You have another white pickup here. There's one on Kings Road, on the other side in front of the house. I just don't believe that Brian Christopher Koberger would come by himself to this house, a house full of people, at least 6 people. He wouldn't know if there was more, and a dog. He isn't Deadpool or Iron Man or Batman, a superhero, to think that he can just go in, unalive 4 people and just get away. I'm actually starting to believe that Brian Christopher Koberger was seen driving that night. But just hear me out. He was seen driving that night near these areas, but he was called there. One of the surviving roommates allegedly called him there. The reason I say that is BF was dealing rugs in this house. I don't know if she stopped dealing rugs when the unalivings happened, but before that she was. Her Venmo tells us everything. And I believe that is crucial in this case. If you have a rug dealer in the house, there will be many targets. They will be targeting them for money, for rugs. A deal could have gone wrong. Even Brian Koberger is a recovering heroin addict. Hate to say that, but that's the truth. What if he bought something from BF and he didn't like the product, or he felt like she ripped him off and he came back and things got bad and he took them all down? But that still wouldn't make sense, because one person couldn't have done all this by themselves. Where were the 4 figures running? What was Saeed watching? I believe Saeed and the Banfield boys and the 4 figures are the people who did this unalivings. I'm going to say that right out today, because allegedly, in my opinion, because all my research points out to those were the only people running around. Very fishy things were going on. Half of the people in the GRUB truck were carrying weapons, machetes, etc. We have Shawalter, who threatened the girls and said, "We're going to get you for that, Maddie." Jack D lives somewhere there on the 2nd floor. He could have just gone from his behind window, climbed down, gone around this block and come right in front of 1122 Kings Road. There is a possibility. This is where the figures were running from. You can see 1122 Kings Road above the steps there, where the bright light is. We saw the figures running down. And then they passed this small or short block. It literally takes them 2 minutes to get there. But I would love to know who lives in that house there. With the wooden steps. Because that's where Kaylee, Maddie, Ethan, and Zana took their pictures, the last pictures. So who do they know there? Saeed said he lives somewhere around there. I wonder if he lives there. The 3 young men at Banfield could have thrown their weapons at the field, because I didn't see the police going and checking the field. The boys were told to stop. The police flashed their torches, their lights, and still they did not stop. They could have easily thrown weapons. And right after the Banfield stop was over, the boys could have just gone across the field, which they did go across the field. They were heading that direction. And it was pitch black on the field, so they could have just gone, picked up whatever they threw, put it in their jacket, gone, buried it, got rid of it. Ethan was at the Sigma Chi right up to 2:10. That was the last text his friend received from him. But where was Xana that night? We didn't hear much about Xana. Her father said she was going to stay at home and chill. Could DM and BF have opened the door and let someone sneak in? Allegedly. And they said that Xana, BF said she saw Xana wearing black. Are they trying to say that Xana was dressed like the suspect? But Xana doesn't have bushy eyebrows. Although this picture is blurry, there's a reason I keep on showing it. These boys were from the Sigma Chi fraternity, and you can clearly see they're carrying large weapons. So they came to unalive and delete people that night, in my opinion. I'm not accusing people. Seeing is believing. And I believe the beanie hat he has on is the one that when you slide it down your face, it becomes a ski mask. Yes, I believe it is that one. Like the bank robbers wear. And we can clearly see he has on a belt to hold the machete. I personally believe he's one of the 3 unidentified male DNAs. And he's David Lodge's friend. He's hanging around with him and the tall guy. The second one could possibly be hoodie guy, because he's carrying a weapon in his jacket too. And he threatened Maddie and Kaye on the way to the GRUB truck. And he was thrown out of the Sigma. He was thrown out of the corner club. Kaye reported him for sexual harassments towards females and towards her. Kaye had a stalker. I wonder if hoodie guy was the stalker. That would make sense, actually. He wouldn't leave them that night. He was like a leech. Maddie and Kaye looked so uncomfortable. Kaye took pictures of hoodie guy. How much more clues do we need? Kaye was even in her last breath telling us, guys, if anything happens to me, I'm a YouTuber too. Taking pictures. The guy behind me, check on him. She was talking to the police and nobody took her serious. Her father, Steve Gongalves, said himself that if Kaye was scared or she felt like somebody was following her, she would take out her phone device and record them. That's what Kaylee did, Steve. She was trying to tell you. Your daughter was trying to talk to you. Sad. Why would she be just taking a random picture of hoodie guy? They're trying to, in fact, stay away from him as far as they can. So why would they be keen on taking pictures of him if Kaylee fancied him? She didn't. She's trying to tell us, pay attention, be mindful, pay attention, I'm taking pictures. It's him. He's one of them. That's what I personally believe. Now, what does this guy have inside his jacket? Isn't that David Lodge? Only one person said to me in the comment channel that this ain't David Lodge, but I believe it is David Lodge. I actually do believe that it's David Lodge because I've seen and compared these pictures. He is carrying something and his friend is carrying something. I just showed you his friend with the long machete in his belt. Now what is strange is as soon as Kaye and Maddie walk in with hoodie guy, right before they walk in, these three guys are standing near the window, you know, where the reflection is, and they turn their backs towards the cashier so that Kaye and Maddie can't see them. And as soon as Kaye and Maddie go to the other direction, they turn around and keep on following them. The girls were under surveillance, not only that night, I believe for a very long time. There were cameras inside the house, I believe. And that's how Saeed and Jovito and everyone at the GRUB truck and Banfield were watching the unalivings or the pictures of the unalivings. So I have two questions. Where is the DoorDash driver that delivered the food? We never saw or heard of him yet. And why all these people carrying? And there's nothing being said about that. There's a certain YouTube creator keeps on trying to slander other creators and especially trying to be, should I say, ignorant? Because see, I do understand these pictures are blurry. But it ain't that blurry that we can't see that this person is carrying a machete. There's the reason he has a belt on. So I'm not here to entertain people like him. And his chat, who are so negative. I'm here to get justice for these 4 victims. And I've said that from the beginning. And that's the reason I keep on exposing things. If they're blurry, they're blurry. But if you see something and you know it's not right, then say it. Like they say in the UK, see it, say it, see it, say it, sorted. I saw it, I said it, and I wish the police investigated it because this is not right. This is not right. 4 young people lost their life in a horrific manner, and you have young students here carrying. Are we supposed to just ignore it? This ain't blurry pictures. This is clear to see. If you go to the original one, you will see that they're carrying. In fact, you will see it clearer. What is hoodie guy carrying? Pay attention to his jacket. Look at his eye. He got beaten that day. And I think that happened at the corner club. Look at his eye. don't know what he's carrying, but at least I can see four to five people at the GRUB truck carrying. And we have DM and BF, or actually DM, who heard rummaging upstairs and she thought it was the Sigma Chi fraternity boys. And we have Bethany Funk, who's dealing in the house. That having someone dealing drugs in the house is enough for robberies to happen, for unalivings to happen, and everything along that line to happen. I personally believe this was all pre-planned. They told us exactly how they're going to do it. They said they were going to do it in 19 minutes. If you count 19 minutes from 3:14, 3:12, when the figures are running, count it backwards, it'll bring you to 2:54. 2:54 was the last calls to Jack D. 2:55 is when you hear a female yelling, "Stop it, stop." 3:12, you see the figures running. So I personally believe the four figures running, the Banfield boys, one of them had a black glove, were all involved. And Side needs to answer, and Jovito and the people at the GRUB truck what they're watching on their phones. Those disturbing pictures has something to do with this unalivings. They all were watching it on their phones. This is what Jovito was watching at the GRUB truck. Trigger warning. Looks like Ethan to me. I could be wrong. And it looks like somebody lying next to Ethan. I know it's blurry, but you can slightly see. You can see actually a lot. Looks like somebody with red liquid pouring from this side. I want these people to be caught, and I want the correct justice to be served for these four students. The surviving roommates need to come clean. Too busy texting each other, telling each other, run downstairs. Why would BF need to tell DM run downstairs when there's an active unaliving going on? Why did they take 8 to 9 hours to call the police? Who logged off Kaylee's LinkedIn account 13 hours after 911 was called? Is this Xana's room? Because Ethan was found in Xana's room. May the rest in peace. Stacy Chapin said there wasn't any threesome. I wonder what she meant by that. And she said 2 a.m. is the hardest time for a family. So I do believe something happened between 2 to 2:30 when it comes to Ethan and Xana. 2 a.m. is the hardest time for a family. She would know because Maisie and Hunter, the other two of the triplets, would have known exactly what happened to their brother. Please like, share and subscribe. May the correct justice be served.